Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm a San Francisco native, and I'm a District 8 resident. I've never been so ashamed and embarrassed of my city as I have been since October 7th. I'm asking you to vote no on the resolution as it is currently written. This resolution is a shame for our city. If our city is to make any resolution at all, it must contain a number of things in order to call out the atrocities of the terrorist group Hamas and make sure that Jews and the State of Israel are supported and protected. First, it must lay out the atrocities that Hamas engaged in on October 7th, including the systematic rape, mutilation, torture, and kidnapping of Israelis and Jews. Rape is not resistance. Second, it must include language that calls for the removal of Hamas from government and military control in Gaza. Third, it must include language calling for a two-state solution that will allow Palestinians and Israelis to forge a path of peace together. And this cannot happen with Hamas, since their charter is to obliterate Israel and Jews from the world. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Oren. I moved to San Francisco in 1990. I have two school-age kids here. Myself and my kids do not feel safe. And I would like to add that 5 members of my immediate family who used to come visit me in San Francisco were murdered at Kibbutz Be'eri on October 7th. 2 of those family members, this is my first cousins, were taken hostage, Noga and Shiri Weiss. And they were released as part of that second day of the releases of hostages. And I can tell you that this resolution does one thing. It fuels anti-Semitism and hatred, as exemplified in this room right now. Listen, the pig noises and everything else. This is pure anti-Semitism. And I have never, since I moved to San Francisco, seen this kind of hatred against a minority group ever. A public demonstration of hate against a minority group. If you replace a Jew with any other minority, it would be unacceptable. But look at the behavior just in this room. And this is what it's like through the rest of the city. My kids and I do not feel safe in San Francisco. And this resolution simply does advertisement and PR around the world and around this country and this city for that. A lie. And rape is not resistance. Rape is not resistance.
My name is Anthony, and I'm a queer tech worker and resident in this area. I'm here to relay common sense. Pass the resolution as is. If you can't even do that, every single one of us here who came in support of Palestinian cause has more humanity and is more deserving of your position than you will ever be, especially you know who. We hear a lot of people talk about an ancestral heritage, who has the right to Palestinian land, who started it all first. But what baffles me is none of that should take away from the fact that there is no valid reason to displace and cleanse millions of people who are already living in their homes. We took away their home, their right to self-determination, their lives, and now their future. Zionists speak of hostages but fail to speak of the thousands of wrongly detained and mistreated Palestinians. They talk of anti-Semitism but ignore their blatant Islamophobic and anti-Palestinian actions. They live in abundance of food and water yet cry victim. They speak of October 7th but they don't acknowledge the thousands of innocent Palestinians that have been murdered for almost a century. And continuing, they hail the IOF as heroes yet demonize the Hamas resistance fighters as terrorists. They call themselves generous for their pathetic, meager compromises while standing on the bloody remains of Palestinian land. They speak of the few unverifiable evidences to uphold their hypocrisy while ignoring Palestinian children getting their limbs amputated, women having C-section, all without anesthesia. That doesn't even scratch the surface of all the pain Palestinians have been facing for a long time. Accept the pictures, the footages, the stories that brave Gazan journalists have been sharing, risking their lives. Let these evidences fuel your anger and fight for a ceasefire. Do everything you can to save lives while there are lives to save. If you have humanity, it is the very least you can do. Ceasefire now.
Hello, my name is Sami Ibrahim, and I'm here again speaking to you as a resident of San Francisco's Ventura Hill, as well as the proud queer child of Nigerian Muslim immigrants. Last time I was here, I called you to vote yes on the resolution on December 12th, and though you have failed to do so, late is better than never. So I urge you to vote yes now on the resolution as is, without any of the amendments. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
Hello, Supervisors. My name is Daniela Ropesa, a proud resident of District 11. Like you all, I had the privilege of waking up today without the sounds of bombs dropping, homes crashing, snipers shooting, or buzzing of drones around me, without the fear that I may be murdered today or fear of the murders that I will witness at the hands of Israel. This has become the daily experience for humans in Gaza. I am saying humans instead of Palestinians because then maybe you will care if I say humans. Do 30,000 more civilians need to be murdered? Do 65,000 more tons of explosives need to be dropped? Do more babies need to freeze to their deaths? Do more journalists need to be targeted before we get to see true documentation of the horror that is today's Palestinian experience? How much more will it take? I hope that as you vote, you are reminded of your humanity and the humanity of the Palestinians to call for an immediate ceasefire and keep the resolution as is. Let's not forget that they are the real indigenous people of Palestine and of the land that the world recognizes as present-day Israel. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Tony. I'm from District 10. Please pass this resolution without amendments. The amendments and push to oppose the resolution is a divisive and shameful move by JCRC, an organization that does not represent all Jews, including myself. Anti-Semitism and Judaism are being weaponized by the far right. Don't be intimidated. Take a bold stance as San Francisco has at other critical junctures like under apartheid South Africa. Stand in solidarity with our Arab and Muslim communities. This resolution does not turn your back on the Jewish community. Many of us support this amendment and oppose the genocidal and oppressive policies and actions of the Israeli government. There is a long-standing opposition to Zionism amongst the Jewish community since the 19th century because ethnic cleansing has always been a part of the Zionist project, as we continue to witness to this day. Genocide, militarism, and colonialism do not keep Jews safe, or any of us. Take leadership. Ceasefire now.
Hello, my name is Karen Lopez. I'm a resident of District 11. I'm an immigrant from Colombia. I've lived here for 35 years of my life in the Mission and the Excelsior, and I work as a certified nurse midwife at San Francisco General, and I have the honor and the privilege to receive the future generations of this city, and I am here advocating for my Palestinian relatives to be held in the same safety and honor and dignity of their lives as I do every day at San Francisco General. I feel disgusted that my taxpayers, my money is here and complicit in these crimes against humanity, that birthing people, families, children, babies are not able to be honored for the right to live. The right to live. This is important for all of us. I'm so sad as an Indigenous woman that we will be complicit in more trauma against humanity. All over the world, there's so much pain and heartbreak. It's sad that we have to do this. I don't even believe in this system. I'm here. Cease fire now. Viva Palestina! Viva Palestina!
My name is Moz. I'm a physical therapist. I also work at San Francisco General. I work with the amputees. I see the devastating physical and psychological consequences of losing a limb. In Gaza, at least 10 children have lost one or both their legs every day for 94 days. These kids have no working healthcare system to turn to for recovery. There are no physiatrists to oversee their care, no prosthetists to make them new arms and legs, no PTs or OTs to help them regain their mobility and independence, not only because there is no healthcare infrastructure left, but because those same healthcare workers, my colleagues, are being intentionally murdered while we play around with the semantics of war with Dorsey's amendments. When I go to work after this meeting, I won't place conditions on my patients' care based on the circumstances of how they ended up seeing me. I will just help them because I took an oath, because it is my job, because it is the right thing to do. We are asking you to do the same thing that is asked of healthcare workers. We both exist to serve and advance humanity. We are both held to a higher moral standard. Please help. Please do the right thing. Please pass this resolution swiftly and without amendment. Israel is being taken to the International Criminal Court next week. Be on the right side of history before it is a stain on our city.
Hello, my name is Jokai Bath. I'm a licensed therapist to many residents in San Francisco and all districts. I'm calling on the members of this board to please vote yes to the ceasefire resolution as it was originally proposed without amendments. This original resolution supports the mental and physical health of your constituents. My clients have family in Palestine and in Israel. My clients are refugees from other war-torn countries, and my clients watch what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank, and they're not able to sleep, and their chronic pain flares up, and they're scared to be in their schools and in their workplaces, and they have increased anxiety, and they're having panic attacks, and these are your constituents. These are our people. We need you to please vote yes. We need you, for our people here, to acknowledge a ceasefire means.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Thank you for this opportunity to address you today and ask for a vote to pass a ceasefire resolution as it stands. My name is Sheila Ivlev. I'm a San Francisco born and raised District 7 resident. I'm a licensed mental health occupational therapist, and I've worked in trauma and rehabilitation with our local veterans and San Franciscans for over a decade. I have daily interactions with people that can't eat, sleep, or function. They're re-traumatized watching Gazans die of cold, deliberate dehydration and starvation, and bombs our tax dollars are funding. Your yes vote means San Franciscans will be assured that funds that go toward our health and well-being will remain here instead of funding a genocide we did not ask for that's killing more children, women, families, and healthcare workers than we can accurately count. For my family, neighbors, and clients, I remind you that every one of us should have a home, should not go hungry, and should have access to healthcare and safety. We have so much work to do as a community to protect the health and safety of our people. Please swiftly vote yes as is so that we can move on to heal.
Speaker time has elapsed.
My name is Donna. I live in District 7. I'm a registered nurse, and I call upon the entire board to vote yes on the ceasefire resolution as is without any racist amendments. As a healthcare worker, I am furious. Israel is targeting and murdering my colleagues and making it impossible to access care. As a mother, I'm devastated. The stories and constant images of dead, starving, injured children continue to haunt me, as they should. They should haunt all of us. As a taxpayer, I am outraged. Our tax dollars are funding their destruction instead of increasing access to healthcare here. And as a voter, I will remember. When it comes time to vote, I will remember what you did when we asked you to stand up against genocide. Thank you. Ceasefire now. Free Palestine.
Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. Our culture and religion are rooted in peace, and it's very peace that we seek today. The situation in Gaza demands urgent attention. The ongoing ethnic cleansing and atrocities amount to nothing short of a humanitarian crisis. It is important that a ceasefire resolution is reached immediately and the senseless violence and prevent further loss of innocent lives. We implore all parties to reject any amendments that fuel extremism, racism, and the horrifying respect of increased violence and genocide. The need for peace has never been more pressing. Ceasefire now.
Hello, my name's Daniel Dunn. I'm live in District 9, and I'm part of a family that's mixed Jewish and Palestinian. I'm calling for a ceasefire now without any amendments. We are not That's right. This is a genocide, and there's no other word for it. There's not two equal sides. The Gazans have already lost 1.5% of their population in 3 months. 1.5% dead in 3 months. For a point of equivalency, let's just say that my family in the West Bank lives under siege, whereas my Israeli members of my family are on vacation in Thailand. Gaza's running out of food, water, and medicine. Israel's running out of bullets and bombs. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Izzy Parna-Wolf, and I'm a queer, bisexual, Jewish SF resident of District 6. I am here to voice my support of the passing of the resolution as is without Supervisor Dorsey's proposed amendments. These amendments draw attention away from the genocide that is happening right now against Palestinians. They're racially insensitive and factually inaccurate. They are meant to detract and distract from the core issue, which is the Israeli government's ongoing violence against Palestinians. I grew up going to Jewish day school, Jewish summer camp, synagogue, and even studied abroad in Israel, Palestine. I am saddened, enraged, and deeply offended by the ways Judaism is being weaponized and used to justify ongoing violence against Palestinians. I am here not despite my Judaism, but because of it. And I want to be clear that as a Jewish person, JCRC absolutely does not speak for me, as well as 1,000 over Jews who signed a letter showing this. I urge you all today to lead from a place of humanity rather than fear and to pass the resolution as is. Palestinians have a right to life and safety. Please.
Hi, supervisors, are you all here? Is everybody here? Dorsey, Supervisor Dorsey, are you here? Thank you. Has my time started?
Yes, it has.
Can you start it over? Because I was asking if they're present.
Your time has already started. Please continue.
Can you please start it over? Yeah, they're not paying attention to me. Supervisors, please, can we start this over? Did you? You're not. Are you
Clock
starting
has
it
been
over?
reset. Please continue.
Okay, thank you. My name is Nader Khoury. I'm a Palestinian and a son of Nakba survivors.
Is a terror. Zionism is pedophilia. Zionism is apartheid. Zionism is occupation. Shame on Israel.
All right, I'm going to start over here. My name is Nader Khoury. I'm a Palestinian and a son of Nakba survivors and have lived here on Ohlone territory my entire life. I'm urging you to pass this resolution with no amendments. If you were following along, this is the same situation we were in for the Oakland ceasefire resolution. Oakland Council member Dan Kalb proposed an amendment very similar to what Supervisor Dorsey is proposing, and only one person voted for it. Councilmember Kalb then turned around and voted for the resolution as is, and it passed unanimously. We could sit here and condemn the endless war crimes the Zionist entity has been committing for 100 years, but we chose not to because condemnation will only bring more danger to all Palestinians and Jews here and there. Let's focus on ending the slaughter happening to Gaza and Palestine so we can get back to doing the real work of bringing equal rights and justice to all Palestinians. Anything else is just a Zionist tactic that's being used to wipe us off the land for good. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ibrahim, a Palestinian-American taxpayer, SF resident of District 1, and son of a father who was expelled from his home during the Nakba. Today is day 95 of the genocide of Gaza, and we all know the staggering numbers of people murdered by Israel thanks to our taxpayer money. South Africa, who has experienced a brutal apartheid, has recognized this genocide for what it is and are calling the state of Israel to trial. Why are we in this great progressive nation still debating and trying to make racist amendments? Zionist corruption runs deep, and we need you guys to stand up for what is right. This board needs to support South Africa again like it did in 1973 and end the genocide in Gaza. This is San Francisco. We don't accept hate, racism, and we certainly won't accept genocide. You, the board, have the power to do something and the responsibility to stop your colleagues like Mr. Dorsey from being on the wrong side of history. Please just do what is right. Pass the ceasefire resolution as is without empty but Hamas arguments. Nothing that happened on October 7th can justify genocide. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Rules Committee. My name is Jamie Richardson, and I'm a San Francisco resident living in District 8. I am also an employee of the City and County of San Francisco. I'm here today on behalf of Concerned SF Workers, a coalition of city employees calling on each of you to support the ceasefire resolution without amendments. As you are aware, city workers have submitted to all supervisors an open letter urging elected leaders to call for a permanent and total ceasefire in Gaza. This letter has over 225 signatories from current and former city employees with over 30 departments represented. City workers, alongside the labor unions that represent us, continue to hold firm in our solidarity with the people of Palestine. The country and the world has looked to SF as a resounding voice in social change and leaders in the fight for liberation. But now, over 90 days into this genocidal war, our city's leaders have chosen silence. It's time to change that. We must call for a ceasefire and call for it now. If thousands of people who made public comments last month weren't enough to convince you, look around the room today, all morning. Wake up, supervisors. As city workers, we urge you, the Rules Committee, to pass the resolution without amendments and to vote yes on it when the time comes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Supervisors Dorsey, Walton, and Safai. My name is Melissa Chan, and I grew up in D10, Visitation Valley, where my immigrant parents had their small business for nearly 40 years. I am also a city employee who is deeply concerned about the silence from our city leaders regarding the ongoing genocide and mass displacement of the Palestinian people. As public servants, we should all be committed to uplifting and protecting the humanity of all people, especially the most vulnerable. As noted in some of the proposed amendments, there's been at least 10,000 more lives lost and another million folks displaced since this resolution has been introduced. There have also been several articles retracting and disavowing the factually incorrect sources that Supervisor Dorsey is referencing in his proposed amendments related to sexual violence. I can't believe I have to say this, but genocide is never the solution. Hamas isn't the one bombing schools, hospitals, and homes. It's the Israeli government with weapons provided by our own government. There can be no peace or safe return of hostages until a ceasefire happens, which means everyone lays down arms. Please vote in favor. Ceasefire now.
Good afternoon. My name is Noura. I'm a Palestinian from the Bay Area and lived in San Francisco for decades. And we're calling on you to stand with the people to support this critical resolution and reject any amendments made by these racist, violent, genocide deniers. Their transparent lies to try and cover up the genocide taking place before our very eyes, that is amply documented for the world to see, are only matched by their chutzpah. For over 3 months, we have witnessed Israel's atrocious crimes taking place with full impunity. Many of you may not know how bad it really is because they are killing journalists at unprecedented rates while denying access to outside witnesses. Thankfully, that impunity changed on December 29th when South Africa filed an ICJ case to hold Israel accountable. As Americans, we are complicit. As elected officials, it is your duty and responsibility to stand against this genocide and in support of the ICJ case and with your constituents. Please.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hello, my name is Valeria Suarez, and I am a San Francisco City employee. A month ago, I was here alongside thousands of people who asked you to urgently vote yes on the ceasefire resolution. We told you then Gaza couldn't wait. Instead, you had your break, your little holiday parties, and got to have a nice meal with your families. Well, in the meantime, over 10,000 more people have been murdered. We have over 100 journalists killed. Palestinian families are being starved and frozen to death. And we are here again, taking time out of our day, calling out of work, you taking time from school to come and beg you to say no to genocide and pass this resolution as is. I urge you to reject all the amendments proposed by Supervisor Dorsey, who are rooted in nothing but racism, Islamophobia, and xenophobia. All of you are choosing your legacy now. You will be judged accordingly. Dorsey already picked his.
Good morning. I'm another resident of District 6, and like my supervisor, Matt Dorsey, I'm gay and sober. I'm here to speak to Matt in the council, person to person and heart to heart. Matt asked what the president is doing wrong. Let me tell you, as a former EMT, if I was doing my job in Gaza, I would be considered a target by the Israeli military, who has made over 304 attacks on healthcare in Gaza since October. Then, if I was killed in my ambulance by an American-made bomb, President Biden would send more ammunition to continue killing my colleagues. Over 30,000 are dead, and Biden has said no red lines for Israel and no chance of a ceasefire. Does that sound like the president is doing nothing wrong? Matt, your LGBT and Leather District supports this resolution as is because we want to stop arming the slaughter of healthcare workers. Pass the resolution without these racist and pro-war amendments, or we will not support your re-election. It says a lot that you can't even look one of your constituents in the eyes as I'm addressing you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ilgiz Kisimov. I'm a resident of Bayview, District 10. Shout out to Mr. Shaman Walton. I'm a landscaper in the city, and in normal circumstances, I'd be here arguing for more funding towards the urban forestry department. But unfortunately, all the money that we have is being sent to Israel to support genocide. I'm here to urge you to support the ceasefire resolution as is, without those bias and racist addendums that Supervisor Dorsey put it there. Yeah, stand on the right side of history. If you have a modicum of political acuity, you would see where the wind is blowing, and if you don't do this right choice, you do not do moral choice, you'll be probably in a dustbin of history. Thank you very much for your time. Ceasefire now, free Palestine.
Supervisors, my name is Lori Lederman. I'm a resident of District 7 and another Jew outraged by the ongoing genocide committed by the State of Israel and by their ruthless campaign against free speech by wrongly conflating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. Please support the ceasefire resolution as written by Dean Preston without Supervisor Dorsey's amendments. It is only the U.S. government that stands in the way of a ceasefire, virtually alone in the entire world, by refusing to call for peace while sending planes and bombs to kill and maim tens of thousands of imprisoned Palestinian civilians and to destroy the entire Gaza infrastructure. And those same U.S. tax dollars going to weapons for Israel are not spent on needed education, healthcare, and housing here. It is our responsibility to call for this genocide to stop now, not a moment longer. Support this resolution now as written, no amendments. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Allison, and I work in one of San Francisco's many public health clinics. And in the name of public health and dignity for all Palestinian people, I demand that the Board of Supervisors pass the existing ceasefire resolution without any amendments or with only Supervisor Preston's amendments. Opposing genocide is neither complicated nor controversial. Please let the deepest part of your humanity call for an end to these horrors. The people of San Francisco call on you to lend your voices towards permanent ceasefire, liberation, and self-determination for all Palestinians. Free Palestine.
Hello, my name is Dasha Yurkovich. I am the leader of Youth Bike America. I'm a D1 voter represented by Connie Chan. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I'm a Jew that stands against Zionism. Transportation restriction is one of the most powerful forms of oppression across the world. Years of military occupation and now genocide inflicted on the Palestinian people is the most extreme example of that. But we see it even in San Francisco, West Oakland BART station. There's over 700 military checkpoints and segregated roads in the West Bank. Palestinians have resorted to mountain biking through the mountains just to travel between village to village. These restrictions affect Palestinians' access to medical care, food, and most importantly, family and organization. In Gaza, people are trapped within the walls built by the IOF, and the roads have been bombed to the point where ambulances and aid vehicles cannot even drive and deliver aid. I, along with my friends, the Gaza Sunbirds, the paracycling team in Gaza, demand a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, an end to the
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hi, my name is Belle Boetti. I'm a 13-year resident of San Francisco. I live in D1 and I run a small business in D7. I am here today for my Palestinian landlord at my shop, who, out of empathy and generosity, out of a clear understanding of community, has supported me year after year. At the beginning of COVID, he comped me my rent for months. He lowered my rent this year when I re-signed. How many commercial landlords can you say that about? When I saw him recently, he told me that his sister, who is a nurse in Palestine, has lost many of her colleagues in Gaza to Israeli murder. He said that she texts her colleagues in Gaza who are still alive every day, and she asks the question, "Are you still alive?" Can you imagine that? Supervisor Dorsey, can you imagine asking your colleagues next to you, texting them, asking them every day, "Are you alive?" It's not okay. We need your leadership. We need you to say no to this genocide. We need you to pass this resolution without any amendments. We vote you.
Speaker time has elapsed.
My name is Sarah Powell, and I live in District 9. Since I last spoke here on this issue, thousands more have been murdered and hundreds of thousands displaced in Palestine. Starvation and disease are rampant, but I'm no longer here to speak to your compassion. If that would have worked, we would already have a ceasefire. We have standing to speak to this issue because it is done in our name and with our tax dollars. We are here again, in a clear majority, again, participating and demanding that you, our representatives, represent us. As we are making our voices heard here, you should represent our voices to the federal government. Secretary of State Blinken has just said we want to do everything we can to ameliorate the situation for the men, women, and children in Gaza. The clear way to do that is to call for a ceasefire now. I ask that you pass the resolution in its original form.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hi, my name is Arij, and I'm here as a Palestinian American, as a San Franciscan living in Potrero Hill, District 10, as a mother of 2 toddlers. I urge you to vote as soon as possible in favor of the ceasefire resolution without this divisive amendment introduced by Supervisor Dorsey. Let's be clear, this is not a two-sided issue. This is a humanitarian crisis. In addition, this is a local issue for 2 reasons. 1, our tax dollars pay for this genocide. Enough lives have been lost, no more killing children with our tax dollars. Number 2, if you don't push for a ceasefire, you're not only saying it's okay to kill children in Palestine, you're saying it's okay to kill Palestinian children everywhere, even here in America. Because when leadership is complicit in this genocide and the dehumanization of Palestinians, then Palestinian Americans are killed and stabbed, like in Illinois and Vermont. As a Palestinian American, I don't feel safe here in my home in San Francisco. I'm afraid for my Palestinian American children. I will take off my kufiya when I leave today, and I shouldn't have. This must stop. Ceasefire now.
Hi, my name is Jing Shi, and I am a constituent of District 5, and I am a tech worker. I am going to lay down the 2 reasons why I think the council needs to move forward with the resolution without any amendments. First, your constituents are going through trauma right now. Just by looking at all the videos of all the Palestinians going through these atrocities during a genocide, I did not need to see one thing. I did not to see 100 things and 1,000 things that have happened. I needed one to be activated, and I am. And I know that many others are. That's first of all. Second, people are getting organized. I am connecting with Jewish, Palestinian, people from all ethnicities and all stages of life, that we are becoming a one-issue voter on this issue. And this is up to you to show us that you care for the voices of ours, for us to advocate for you. Because I know people who are willing to volunteer their time, who are willing to sign on to this, and who are willing to stand behind these organizations for the humanity of people. We're being Palestinian, we are thinking them as
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hi, I'm Ali, a Palestinian American D6 voter. Today makes it clear, voters in SF support ceasefire. Look around. And there's no moral case for killing 100 children a day. Biden, Bibi, and JCRC are standing against the hostage families who overwhelmingly demand ceasefire with all-for-all hostage exchange. Back in October, it was frightening to wear a kufiya. Now, they're everywhere. Every group in this movement has grown. More and more people are willing to get arrested for Palestine. If you see Palestinians as human, you'll respect and support ceasefire without changes that were prefaced with Israeli claims Israel refuses to let the UN investigate. Changes that fail to condemn Biden, Bibi, and the IOF while they commit genocide. For hostages in all of the land's people, support ceasefire. If you want a huge leadership opportunity, then stand with this movement, stand with your voters, and support a ceasefire now.
My name is Yates. I live in D9. I work in D8. I go to Shul in D1. I'm a queer Jew against violence. It is the most Jewish value to believe in the liberation and solidarity of all peoples, and that begins and ends with Palestine. The state of Israel is a killing machine fed by our tax dollars to wage siege and forced displacement of the Palestinian people who have lived on and worked the land for centuries. 30,000 souls lost, countless others since the Nakba, 75 years of suffering and of war. I'm one of the thousands of Jews calling for an immediate ceasefire. The JCRC does not speak for me. And since rape has been weaponized in this chamber as a survivor of sexual assault, I urge you to reject the proposed amendments and pass this resolution as is. Liberation is possible. Liberation is happening. In Olam Haba, the world to come, Palestine is free. All love forever. All eyes, all hearts on Palestine.
Hello? Hello? Hey, hi, my name's Floyd. I'm just a drop of rain in this storm, as well as a voter and a San Francisco native and a resident my whole life, and a survivor of gun violence in this city. Look, I have the bullet wounds right here. You can see it, you know, but that's nothing compared to what the people in Palestine and Gaza are going through right now. And if we have any power at all, this is what it's for, you know. And if San Francisco has any values at all, then we must call for an immediate end to the terrorism Israel is perpetuating on innocents. Zionism is anti-Semitism. Free Palestine. The world is watching, and we cannot be bystanders to genocide. Thank you. I yield my time.
Hello, my name is Layla, and I'm a PhD student where I specialize in this very subject. I'm here today to demand that the San Francisco City Council take a long overdue and unapologetic stand in solidarity with Palestinian people. This is your litmus test, and as we have made clear by now, the global is local. We will not be dissuaded by inaction, nor will we be pacified by Dorsey's cowardly amendments that undermine the integrity of our movement, weaponize religion, and misconstrue history. Your Arab and Muslim community is under attack, and our mistreatment is not commensurate with the protection of our Jewish brothers and sisters. If your system relies on us being invisible, then it is not one worth saving. Taking a stance on this would not be divisive, but dishonest apoliticism riddled in racist amendments would. We have an opportunity to be better. Imagine a liberated future and create that future together. We will do that with or without you, but given your tenuous positions and the role civil servants are supposed to play in society, we hope that it is the former. Thank you for your time, and free Palestine.
I'm Sobia, a constituent of District 1. I still can't believe the horrors on my screen. Ceasefire, ceasefire, I scream. Does it bother you the same? Do you not feel their pain? The tears flow endlessly. The blood spills endlessly. Do they not belong? Is the blood spilled there cheaper than yours? Why is it taking so long to call for peace over the heads of children? How many more? How many more before the world is reborn? Please, please, I urge you to pass the ceasefire resolution as is, no amendments, for peace for all of us. Free Palestine.
I'm Jennifer. I'm a constituent in San Francisco. I'm an Israeli-American Jew, and I am here in strong support of a ceasefire with no amendments. The JCRC does not represent me, and they continue to erase Jewish descent, and that is anti-Semitic. Nothing in Jewish tradition and spiritual tenets allow for the dehumanizing of the other. In fact, it is because of my Jewish identity and Jewish values that I must stand with Palestine and with Palestinians. My family of Arabic background lived in peace and in protection in Arab countries as Jews. So this false story that Jews and Muslims and Jews and Arabs are different is false and dangerous. Islamophobia and anti-Semitism are tied together. There is real anti-Semitism in this country, and JCRC is making a mockery of the need for protection by pretending that advocating for Palestinian humanity is in some way damaging our safety. Not true. Ceasefire now. No amendments, please.
Hi everyone, I'm a refugee. My name is Sadia Kiswani. Yesterday was the anniversary of the death of my son whom I had never forgotten to remember. My son has a grave here covered with green grass, but in Gaza, the majority had their body parts cut off under their store's home, and no one could bury them. I am amazed at how I stand here in front of you, demand an end to the fighting in Gaza, which is under occupation and siege. I demand an end to the killing of children and women, the killing of doctors, the demolition of hospitals, and the demolition of homes over the heads of their owners. This massacre left more than 30,000 dead, in addition to thousands of wounded and missing.
Speaker time has elapsed. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a constituent and I'm an educator. I'm in full support of the original resolution, and I think that anyone who is actually aware of what 100-year-old apartheid means would not even would not even bring this derailment. I think it's ridiculous. We understand, everyone here understands why the US is continuing to aid this genocide. You understand, my little sisters and brothers understand, and I promise that my students will understand. It's not untrue to say that more people, especially my age, are realizing the importance of local politics. So all due respect, if you want to keep your jobs, you will vote for this resolution. I refuse to condemn the military branch of Hamas. I refuse to condemn the children of apartheid and a century of violence. So many people had died. I've heard so many stories of hope coming from martyrs just days before they're murdered, and I don't understand. You can do more, please do this. Mr. Safaid, I know you're still listening. I urge you to vote with your heart. Dorsey, you should be ashamed. I hope you hate yourself for bringing those resolutions, the amendments up. I really hope you do.
Speaker time has elapsed.
But before the next speaker, there's a lot of people in the room that have just come in here for the first time. You cannot address your comments to any of us. It has to be directed to the entire body. And please refrain from clapping. It slows the process down. People have been waiting for hours to speak. You can do this with your hands, and if you don't like something, you can do a thumbs down. Try to remain respectful. Thank you.
The mic's on. Please proceed.
My name is Asia. I'm a worker and resident of District 11, the Excelsior District of San Francisco. Coming from a community that is made up of black and brown working class folks, migrant and immigrant groups that are the backbone of this city, we are begging you to please listen to our demands. I want to emphasize that this should not be complicated. This is not complex. This is simply the Zionist state of Israel committing genocide of the Palestinian people, and we must do all we can to reach a permanent ceasefire. Every time a brave Palestinian journalist shares photos and videos of the explicit violence and dead human bodies, how could it not sit horribly with you that our tax dollars are funding the weapons to continue taking human lives? So please hear us. The people of San Francisco stand with Palestine and look to the board to truly represent us and to vote yes on the ceasefire resolution as is, with no added amendments. The lives of Palestinians cannot afford neutrality. Gaza cannot wait. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
My name is Nicole, and I'm a barista in the Excelsior neighborhood and a member of Anagbayan City College of SF. I'm asking you all to support the ceasefire resolution. I do not support these racist amendments being proposed on this resolution. Growing up in a city with a working class Filipino immigrant household, I know all too well the violence, displacement, and forced migration my family has had to experience coming to this country due to political repression and economic turmoil. Let us use our platform to address similar conditions in Palestine. It's honestly shameful that y'all haven't made a decision sooner. We only see the rise in killings and the silencing of media coverage on what's happening on the ground. We have such a big influence in this country, so let us do right and get one step closer to stopping the genocide in Palestine. Filipino immigrants and students will continue to rise against the unjust killings and displacement of Palestine. From Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. Good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Megan. I work in D11 in the Excelsior, and I'm a part of Gabriela at San Francisco State University. We're an organization fighting for the rights and welfares of women and children in the Philippines. For the past few months, our organization has been showing out in solidarity for Palestine and continuing to connect our shared struggles. Israeli forces continue to train armed forces in the Philippines on the best ways to suppress activists and kill civilians, and this continues to be supported directly through U.S. aid and U.S. intervention. There is this misinformation that continues to be spread that Palestinian people are targeting and attacking women, trans people, and children. But the reality that we continue to see is that it is Israel who has killed thousands of Palestinian women, queer people, and children, over 9,000 children. And they are actively training countries that your constituents are from, like the Philippines, on how to do the same. This is not a nuanced issue. This is a humanitarian issue. This is a matter of whether you are against an active genocide. I am urging you to vote in support of the ceasefire resolution as is tomorrow, with no racist amendments, and to stand on the right side of history.
Hi, my name is Shara Orquiza, and I'm a resident in District 10 and work in District 11. In October, I got to witness youth leaders from Balboa High School who led a student walkout in October in support of Palestine and already calling for ceasefire. And while they received positive support from their fellow youth and staff members from their high school, they received death threats and harm from Zionists, and they were left vulnerable after their student-led action. They were a lack of response from the district and the Board of Education Committee to make sure that they are safe in their own school. We cannot let this continue. We must protect the rights of the youth to protest and advocate for their freedom for their homeland. They have the right to learn about the rich culture and history of resistance in their classrooms, and they have the right to come home to Palestine without the fear of violence and bombing from the Israel state. I call on you to vote for the ceasefire tomorrow as is and with no amendments, and exercise your leadership for your people here in SF. Thank you.
Good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Trina, born and raised in D9, D11, and now D10 resident. I work at a Filipino migrant nonprofit, and I'm repping Filipinos in support of the already centrist ceasefire resolution as it stands without amendments. As we approach one of the largest foreign wars of aggression against an indigenous Arab group of people in my lifetime since the early 2000s, I urge you to think about what the reso will mean to millions of survivors of genocide who never got justice in Congo, Sudan, Haiti, the Philippines, Yemen, Iraq, South Africa, and many more. The reason why so many immigrants today of this city offer their lives willingly for Gaza is because, unlike the opposition, we are too familiar with indiscriminate bombing, terror tagging, and historical revisionism in our home countries. and neglect like host countries like the US who funded war and economic turmoil in our home countries in the first place. And because of this, we are not idiotic to conflate genocide with self-defense. Our San Francisco high school youth have been subjected to verbal, physical abuse in their schools, death threats from grown Zionist adults for supporting the rights to free speech to defend themselves.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Display outside this morning with the white Zionist woman attacking a Palestinian baby, a Palestinian young boy. They have no right to do this. If we're going to be talking about taunting behavior, it's because Zionists...
Speaker time has elapsed.
Ceasefire now.
Hi there, my name is Joel Lopez, and I'm a Chicano barista out in the Excelsior area. I stand before you today to ask y'all to pass the ceasefire resolution as is, without amendment. Seeing Palestine experience genocide and colonization breaks my heart and my ancestors' souls. Please be a servant to the will of the people instead to the will of money. From Mexico to Palestine, we stand in solidarity and say ceasefire now. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emma Chu Murphy, and I am an OBGYN physician working here at San Francisco General Hospital. I stand here to support this critical resolution without amendment. We need a ceasefire now. I moved to the city to join a long legacy and a community committed to actualizing health equity, healing, and reproductive freedom. But we can't stand for reproductive health while ignoring the violence against the Palestinian people. Over 9,000 children have been murdered in Palestine. This is more than 7 times the number of children who were born in our public hospital last year. Opposing genocide is the simple and clear decision in this moment. We urge our city to join the conscious world in calling for an immediate ceasefire and to support the resolution as it is written without amendments that dehumanize the Palestinian people. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
My name is Ryan Marr, and I frequent the Bay Area. In order to achieve true peace and alleviate Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, we must vote on a permanent ceasefire resolution as is, no amendments. This is the middle ground. Lebanon and Syria are now getting dragged into this, and we don't need violence to spread. Voting for a ceasefire ensures San Francisco did its best. Ceasefire now so humanitarian aid wouldn't have to struggle to get into the masses in Gaza. Ceasefire now so children and babies wouldn't need amputations without anesthesia. Ceasefire now to put a stop to Israel's killing machine. Does the death toll of 23,000 Palestinians have to keep rising to stop anti-Semitism? Using violence and genocide on one side to achieve peace? San Francisco is known for its progressiveness. It is intertwined with liberation. San Francisco is the example. Not voting for a ceasefire would mean we are going backwards. Just remember, we are the voters that keep you in power. To date, I have not seen one physically violent pro-Palestinian
Speaker time has elapsed.
Thank you, and thank you for all the brilliance that has been expressed today. My name is Karen Milanda Magoon. I'm an ordained minister with the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples, and I am definitely in favor of, how could I even be in favor of? Demanding, feeling in my heart the need for a ceasefire without any kinds of amendments to the strength of the idea of a permanent ceasefire. Aren't 30,000, I believe it's hit that number by now, aren't they enough? Or do we have to keep on killing? I would actually suggest that Biden be impeached for his complicity in genocide. In any event, my bulletins would be, first, end apartheid, end settlements, and end administrative detention. We talk about releasing the hostages, and do you realize how many more hostages we have in Israeli prisons who are not getting good treatment at all? Whereas we evidently are treating the hostages,
Speaker time has elapsed.
return for a ceasefire, they are being treated fine, but not those who are held on administrative detention, meaning that they are not even charged. And after 6 months, they can say,
Speaker time has elapsed.
so blessings to all of you. Ceasefire now and permanent ceasefire. Thank you so much.
My name is Alejandro Palacios. I am a student at San Francisco State and a resident of District 8. I urge you to reject any amendments made by extremists and racist calls to increase violence, welfare, and genocide. These amendments undermine the overwhelming popular demand for a ceasefire, continue the dangerous and violent dehumanization of Palestinians, and to further fuel the war against the people of Gaza. This resolution, as it originally introduced, reflects the most moderate and broad-based consensus of public opinion across the political spectrum. This committee has said that it is not your place to speak to foreign policy. Many of these amendments do just that. They are an overstep of your duty. Your job is to protect your citizens and the overwhelming majority that have called you for a ceasefire. Thank you. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Hello, my name is Sawera and I'm a resident of District 8 and a San Francisco State student. As a youth activist and representative of human rights organization Amnesty International, we are demanding this Board of Supervisors to vote yes on a ceasefire with the resolution written as is and no amendments. I am here because I feel guilty for being alive. To have running water when children have been starved for weeks. To have the privilege of scrolling past videos of families stuck under the rubble for days. I'm here today to speak for those who cannot. Opposing genocide should not be controversial. It is not complicated. It is not about Hamas. It is about standing on the side of human rights as 22,000 people have been massacred in 93 days and more will, with injuries and due to starvation. As each day this genocide goes on. To trust our representatives is to know that they speak up for the identities and cultures that make up this city. To trust that you're doing the work to protect us, to protect our families here and abroad, to protect our underrepresented communities that find haven here in San Francisco.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Let's look back and know that we're on the right side of history.
Kifa, salam alaikum. Michael Rupe, District 9, let's just get down to business. This is what a queer Gazan looks like. I lost contact with him probably 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he's still alive. You have the ability in your hands to do something that if you don't recognize the power of your office, you don't belong in that office. It is incumbent on you to lean on the administration to stop the administration from putting itself further into war crimes. It will come out. And it is incumbent on you, and I want to send a message to any aspirant political jerk-offs who think they're going to come in and do the wrong thing because this is a matter of life and death. These folks depend on our ability to make the right decision. And I look to you for leadership. Please support this without amendment. If you have to parse this down, don't pat yourself on the back because we're already months late. These amendments are shameful. And if you believe this...
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hello, Supervisors. My name is Mitesh Chen and a resident of SF District 5. Firstly, I'd like to start by thanking again my district supervisor, Dean Preston, and Supervisor Hillary Ronan for the courage they've shown against all odds for introducing a resolution demanding a permanent ceasefire. Supervisors, I urge you to vote for a permanent ceasefire as it is without any amendment. Listen to your district constituents here and the ones who have written you, emailed you, called your office. People are begging, they are crying, they are requesting, demanding, protesting in every way that they can. Place humanity over everything. San Francisco has been a beacon of hope for many oppressed. You can pass the resolution and show them that San Francisco still is a beacon of hope. Lastly, a kind woman has been giving rose petals representing the blood of innocent Palestinians who have died since October 7th, but I don't think we collectively have enough hands over here, nor the rose petals to represent those. That have been around 23 people dead, including 10,000 children and more. Free Palestine, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. My name is Adrienne, and I'm a resident of District 2 and a retired nurse. I worked in Africa when the world was silent during the Rwandan genocide. I ask that you vote to pass the resolution put forth by Supervisors Preston and Ronan without amendments. Over 9,000 identified children have been murdered, that they will never grow up, laugh, or run. I ask that you not stand by and watch your inaction, or if you add racist amendments, is being complicit in genocide. How many more Palestinian children, women, and men will die because of your inaction? Please pass this resolution as it is. Listen to the global call for a permanent ceasefire. Ceasefire now, and the Israeli occupation.
Hello, and thank you for your forbearance in listening to this massive call for passing the support for the resolution for a ceasefire as it is. I'm Patrice Sutton, and I have been a resident of San Francisco's District 8 since 1982. And I'm a public health worker. I'm retired from UCSF. And I wanted to just say that the proposed resolution is extremely well written. It echoes calls by the American Public Health Association, the largest public health association in the world, for a ceasefire, for extending humanitarian aid, and for freeing all the hostages. It also echoes a similar call by the Peace Caucus in affiliation with the American Public Health Association for a similar ceasefire. So public health really stands behind what the resolution says, and as it is written now. It's also critical for our federal officials and to let our federal officials know that local governments oppose.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Gould. I live in District 7. I'm also, my family, including my great-grandparents and many of the rest of my family, perished from the Nazis. I'm here today. I'm president of San Francisco Bay Physicians for Social Responsibility in support of the initial resolution without amendments. The language of the resolution echoes the beliefs and positions of National Physicians for Social Responsibility as well as the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War, who are horrified by the continued slaughter of innocent civilians, the targeting of health workers in health facilities, and the other extremely worrisome actions such as the targeting of journalists. So we support this resolution in its original intent. We call for a ceasefire and also to halt the spread for a regional war that could.
My name is Laura Saunders, and I am a D6 resident and voter. My Jewish values lead me to call for an immediate and lasting ceasefire. The path towards peace and security for Palestinians and Israelis, as well as for those here in our community that are facing increased anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. The genocide happening in Gaza must be stopped. A political solution is needed, not a military one. The JCRC does not speak for me. Growing up, I learned that no one spoke out for the Jews to stop the Holocaust. The public is here today speaking out, and our government needs to listen and stop sending weapons and money to support the genocide in Gaza. San Francisco should be joining other Bay Area city councils that have signed ceasefire resolutions. This would set a precedent for our city, state, and country to prioritize human life.
It couldn't be more simple. Innocent civilians, women and children, grandmothers and grandfathers have been and are being slaughtered by the thousands. But detractors are desperate to deflect focus away from this disturbing fact. It's not complicated. We cannot, in good conscience, permit this to occur. This resolution is reasonable as originally written and is the bare minimum action that we as a city can take. Let our great city's voice join the rising chorus to say this must stop. The killing of innocents is intolerable. If you have hesitations or reservations about this resolution, then search your heart and ask the mirror what kind of human being you want to be. Because the world is watching, history is recording, and voters will remember. Thank you.
Hello, supervisors. Thank you for listening, and I saw some of you standing. I saw some of you standing a moment ago and kind of stretching. I'm an occupational therapist, so I know how difficult it can be to sit for hours. My name is Bonnie Dundee. I've been in San Francisco for 24 years. I'm in District 8. I don't want to speak to you today as an occupational therapist. I actually want to speak to you today as a parent. My son calls his other mom Immi, which is Arabic for mother. Gaza is present in our home every day when our son asks for a snack, which is frequently, when he asks for water, when he's tired. The 100 times a day, my wife and I are able to meet these simple needs. We are imagining and feeling the pain of parents in Gaza who are not only living under a barrage of bombs, but are being systematically and intentionally deprived of their basic human resources. This is funded by our tax dollars.
Speaker time has lapsed.
Ceasefire now.
Hi, my name is Don Masumi, and I'm a lifelong resident of District 1, and also a member of Richmond District Rising. I am the son of U.S. concentration camp survivors, except they were not subjected to a massacre, as in the Gaza concentration camp. I'm here to add my voice to that of thousands who for the last 3 months have demonstrated to demand a halt to the genocide. I call on this committee to enable a vote on this resolution as it is written, and without any further amendment that would twist its message. The massacre of 22,000 Palestinians and the forced displacement of almost 2 million can only be described as an ethnic cleansing. We cannot afford to stand by and allow this to happen. The call for a ceasefire is the absolute minimum that we can do. It is our moral obligation. This resolution must be passed for the sake of our Palestinian community, for the sake of all justice-minded people, and for the sake of humanity. Free Palestine, self-determination for the Palestinian people.
Hello, my name is Kristen Alceza. I'm a Filipino illustrator living in District 1. I'm here to urge you all to support this very moderate call for a ceasefire in Gaza without amendments. It's clear that San Franciscans understand the interconnectedness between the dire state of local affairs and genocidal imperialist forces abroad. We know the struggle of the Palestinian people is our struggle too. We know the IDF supports American police departments, immigration enforcement, and oppressive forces like them all over the world. We see the connections between the colonizers' dependence on endless wars, the climate catastrophe, and the prison industrial complex suppressing anyone opposing them. San Franciscans are sharp. We don't agree with our taxes funding racist, overfunded, death-dealing institutions like the IDF or SFPD. We know colonizers like the US and Israel must reckon with our bloody history for humanity to collectively heal. We know our taxes should be funding life-affirming causes like food, schools, healthcare, green energy, and housing for all. Honestly, the board should be thanking us for spelling it out so clearly for you. Oppose genocide, end apartheid, free all political prisoners, end the Israeli occupation.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Leeds, a longtime resident of SF, District 7. I strongly urge you to pass the ceasefire resolution as was introduced by Supervisor Preston. No amendments. SF must stand for life, humanitarian values, for justice, as it has so many times in the past. As an anti-Zionist Jew with family killed in the Holocaust, my parents and grandparents taught me to care for all people, not just our own. As a Jew, the JCRC doesn't speak for me, nor does it speak for many thousands of Jews throughout the Bay Area. As a Jew, I am sickened by the killing of over 25,000 civilians, including 10,000 children, since October by the state of Israel that claims to represent the Jewish people. It does not represent me, and I am horrified by Israel's action and those of its U.S. supporters. Not in my name. Again, no amendments. Pass this humanitarian resolution as introduced. Ceasefire now. Long live Palestine. Thank you.
Whereas the current proposed resolution begins with the words that all human life is precious. There is no human being with a beating heart and soul and an ounce of intelligence that wouldn't agree with the fact that the tears of a Palestinian mother and an Israeli one who loses a child are indistinguishable. Whereas I came to this country as a refugee and I'm forever grateful for taking me and my family in. I understand what it's like to be a displaced person without rights or citizenship. It's not something you ever forget. Whereas on October 6th, there was a ceasefire in Gaza. Whereas on October 7th, Israel was attacked by a terrorist organization, Hamas. Whereas nowhere does Supervisor Dorsey state that he doesn't support a ceasefire. Rather, he's urging to condemn the acts of Hamas, where there is no vote other than no on a resolution that doesn't unequivocally condemn Hamas and call for their removal. No, no, no. Whereas the Jewish Palestinian population in 1948, the year that Israel was founded, totaled approximately 150,000 people. As of January 1st, 2024, this number has increased to 17-fold, to a total of over 2.5 million people. Those numbers don't include the 2 million Arabs that live in Israel and comprise a total
Monaco, and I am a resident of District 8 here in San Francisco. It is asked why San Francisco has to take up this issue. That's because if we as a city, if we as a state, if we as a nation, if we as the world do not stand up against this war on genocide, then there's going to be a very dark stain on our humanity. My paternal grandparents and my father were victims of war, and I can tell you that the effect of war, the trauma of war, does not go away easily because both myself and my siblings have felt that effect. Please pass this resolution without any amendments. The people of Gaza are depending on you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is J. Connor B. Ortega, and while I'm here not as a candidate, I am here as a concerned resident. Supervisor Preston has chosen not to recognize how this conflict began, which was an anti-Semitic terrorist organization raped and murdered innocent people and launched an attack on Israel on October 7th. Now that Hamas is losing and the IDF is closing in, the anti-Semites are demanding a ceasefire. When the IDF eliminates Hamas and this conflict ends, any city, any politician, any supporter, even those bussed in who stood with Hamas will have their names written down as anti-Semites on the tapestry of history and in elections. I stand with Israel. I stand with our president. Kill this resolution in its entirety. Thank you and have a great day.
I'd like to remind the audience to, we are not, please do not provide audio agreement or disagreement, just thumbs up or nonverbal cues of your appreciation or disagreement to the matter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Oscar Echeverria. I live in District 11. I am a resident physician that cares for the people of San Francisco at SF General, and I'm here today to call on Supervisor Asha Safai and all the board members to vote yes to the ceasefire resolution as is without amendments. As a family physician in San Francisco, I bear witness to the harms of policy failures on the bodies and lives of its people. many of whom are unrecognized refugees from other genocides that we failed to stop. As a self-described passionate advocate for children and working families, surely you cannot stand with the ongoing genocide being funded by our tax dollars, not only butchering children and families in their homes and on the street, but depriving our very own communities of sustenance. False and inflammatory, racially insensitive amendments like those of Supervisor Dorsey, respectfully, have no place here today. On behalf of the people of District 11 and San Francisco, I implore you to support the ceasefire resolution as is. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Samer. I'm a resident of District 8. I hope after everything you've heard today that it's clear that Supervisors Dorsey's good faith try to incorporate the feelings of SF constituents into this amendment have fallen tragically short. In addition to being deeply divisive and racially insensitive, it's just embarrassingly incorrect in more ways than I have time to address. But among other things, it references a New York Times story whose primary witness has called it inaccurate and misleading. It takes a bizarre and unnecessary stand on a two-state solution, even though a recent Zogby poll has shown that 70% of Israeli citizens favor a one-state solution. So why opine on this? It erases the statements of the families of the Israeli hostages themselves who are holding the Netanyahu government responsible for prioritizing the destruction of Palestine over a hostage exchange. It completely ignores and discounts the violence in the West Bank, where there is no Hamas, but nearly 400 Palestinians have been killed. And worst of all, the language is absurdly, embarrassingly one-sided. Everyone has watched Israel murder 1% of the entire population of Gaza without killing a single Hamas commander or bringing home any hostages. The scale of this atrocity is not a gap between intent and actions. It's what the UN Secretary General called a graveyard for children. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kate and I live in District 5. I'm a tech worker working out of District 3. This time last year, I started taking Arabic so I can communicate with my partner's family. I got paired up with Asma, who lives in Gaza, and for an hour each week, I would video chat with her to learn Arabic. On October 9th, I received a text from her apologizing for having to cancel our lesson because of an explosion from the Israeli military. She said, "No electricity, no water, no internet. I'm sorry, I can't come to the lesson." Since then, like many of us here, I wait nervously to check in and hear back from her. In our most recent text from last week, she wrote, "We're waiting for the moment of ceasefire announcement. I don't know what they're waiting for. They're destroying my beautiful Gaza." What are you waiting for? We are responsible for the bombing, maiming, and continued murdering of Asma's community in Gaza. I, because I'm a taxpayer here, am responsible for the destruction of Gaza, as are you. There's no need to wait any further. Every death since we were last here on December 5th, that's on us. That's on every one of us here, and that's on you.
Speaker time has elapsed.
Hello, my name is Swathi Raisam, and I'm here as a resident of the Bay Area for almost 10 years and as a public and environmental health worker and a former employee of UCSF's OBGYN department. Since October 7th, healthcare in Gaza has been routinely under attack, with the number of hospitals dwindling from 36 to 8. None of these hospitals are fully functioning, and all are over capacity to support the tens of thousands and climbing Palestinian civilians who have been severely maimed and injured by the IDF. With no functional healthcare system and an unending siege, Palestinians are experiencing a significant increase in infectious diseases, contamination of air, water, and food due to bombs, and due to the intentional destruction by the IDF of water infrastructure, among others. Even the most basic of needs is a miracle for Palestinians every single day. Hospitals are operating under disaster triage, and if disaster triage was bad in times of war, it is even worse for the Gazans, who have been experiencing a siege for over a decade due to the Israeli control of goods, including medical supplies. I'm calling on you as a public...
Speaker time has elapsed.
My name is Fidat. I'm in support of the ceasefire with no amendments. We're over 3 months in, and I'm honestly sick and tired of coming here to keep talking about the same thing over and over. We should be mourning the loss of our families lost, but instead we're here again to talk to you about the same things that have been happening in Gaza. And if you want amendments in this resolution, why don't you put amendments for ending the occupation of Palestine, or condoning the Israeli apartheid regime, or the imprisonment of minor Palestinians without any trial? This is just, a way to try to get us to just waste our time to keep coming here. You need to call for a resolution to call for a ceasefire with no amendments. Free Palestine.
Hello, my name's Simone, and I live in District 1. I worked at a mental health nonprofit in San Francisco, and I'm in full support of the resolution with no amendments and a permanent ceasefire. I work directly with San Francisco residents that live with mental health conditions and PTSD. I have firsthand experience with trauma and its devastating impact on our community. Because of this, I know that there's no such thing as recovery or mental health care in Gaza. The trauma that Palestinians are experiencing is ongoing and won't end until we stop sending money to Israel. It doesn't matter how well I or any mental health care worker does their job, this genocide is the problem, and as a US citizen, my tax dollars are the problem. Please pass this resolution without any amendments. And I want to add on to the last point. I'm taking time off work to come in and ask for you to pass this resolution, and I would much rather spend that time serving our community. Thanks for listening.
My name is Elias Wells. I'm born and raised in San Francisco, in North Beach. And I'm also a substitute teacher and things like that. However, it doesn't really matter. Let me put it to you like this. Okay, this whole conflict in Gaza, you say, who started it? What's the justification or whatever? These people are not dumb. The people who orchestrated the whole thing. You have to be an F student in history not to understand exactly what's going on here. It's a 9/11 situation. We all know who the aggressor is. They're not that stupid. They wouldn't let this just happen. People need excuses like this to, mobilize situations in their favor. So basically, and you guys aren't F students either, so you are way too sophisticated to not understand exactly what's going on here. What is it, 20-1? Is that the ratio? It's not even 10-1. It's like 20 plus to 1. You understand what this is about. You're not dumb. You know exactly. And like everybody else said, this isn't complicated either. You know what I mean? And they.
My name's LH. I'm a brown, non-binary, trans, queer techie, a D6 voter. My fiance is Jewish, and I'm a survivor of rape. I urge you to pass the original resolution carefully concocted by your two Jewish colleagues. Every second we debate about nuances, hundreds of Palestinian civilians are killed and displaced. Block out the propaganda and the weaponization of Jews, queers, and survivors in order to justify the genocide of Palestinians. Please listen to the majority of your constituents who are asking you to pass the resolution as is. Many of us calling for a ceasefire are Jewish, queer, people of color. We marginalized groups of people are all Palestinians. We know what it's like to be targeted, our truth histories to be manipulated, our people to be dehumanized, and our lives up for debate. We obviously condone terrorism of all kinds, which is also why we condone the terrorism enacted by the Israeli government. Terrorism is defined by the unlawful use of violence, intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. That is exactly what the Israeli government has been doing for the past 2.5 months, not to mention the last 75 years. Pass the resolution without the racist amendments. Ceasefire now.
Hi, my name is Isaac. I'm a District 1 voter in support here for the original resolution with no amendments. So it is quite the time to be seeing, feeling, thinking, listening American right now. Being able to watch the murder of tens of thousands of innocent civilians in real time on my smartphone while knowing that my tax dollars are what's making it possible. It is truly mind-boggling to me that I'm supposed to just carry on with life as usual, knowing that entire bloodlines are being wiped out thanks to my taxes. If I didn't think it never truly existed for the people, I'd say American democracy was dead. For this reason, I was glad to see this resolution introduced by an individual, but then this body effectively said they were fine with the death of thousands more by declining to vote. I understand that as local politicians, you might think you have more pertinent matters to discuss, but from my perspective, I haven't seen any real progress on any of those either. It is truly the bare minimum that as elected officials, for you to echo the voices of the people, we say